You don't have.
Oh,
to
you're
talk
kidding.
all the time.
I'm taping it.
I can't sit in one place for a whole hour.
Just when you're ready to stop, just raise your hand and say, I'm done. What have you got, 1:30 on your watch, is that correct?
Well, Hayden, introduce yourself.
I'm Hayden Robert Pierson, and I 3078 East Birch in Bay City, Michigan.
And Hayden, you grew up in Bay City and you were born in what year?
I was born in October the 31st of 1924 in Bay City, Michigan, on Chilson Street.
Went to high school, Bay City Central?
Yes, before that was at Handy Junior High, and then we only had one, 11th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and that was Central High School.
And then when you graduated, it wasn't long before you were in the military.
Well, graduated in January of 1943, and we all had a pre-induction physical at the hospital, and as soon as we graduated, we were on our way to Detroit for a physical, and we all had a choice of what outfit to go into, and I just decided to let whatever happens happen.
So you wound up in the Army.
Yeah, there was I and two others that when the Grand Track Railroad come by Midland Street, that's where we got on, and we all were going to stick together. Well, buddy went to the East Coast, the other one the West Coast, and I went to Missouri, Fort Leonard Wood. So that's how we stuck together.
Yeah.
You remember Don
What-
England, I guess.
Yeah, and those guys' names were again for the...
Don England and Charlie Beeson.
Charlie Beeson. We knew Charlie. He was in car sales for quite a while.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. So, your training was at Fort Leonard?
Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. I was in there then until just before Christmas, when I went home on a furlough, and then when I went back to my outfit, I volunteered to go over to Germany, or go over to.
Where did you go first?
I went to.
Africa?
I went to Africa first. That's where we landed in Africa, and things were pretty well under control there. So from there we went to Naples, Germany, and Naples, Italy, and that's where I joined my outfit.
Okay, were you in the 36th?
36th Infantry Division.
And what point did you join them?
Exactly, it'd probably been, I would say probably in, it took us 30 days to go overseas, kind of the zigzagging all around, because that's when the U-boats were there knocking them off. So it must have been probably close to March, I'd say. February, or I would say maybe February. Probably got over there. And I joined the outfit there, and my first action was at the Anzio beachhead. That the outfit was pulled back out to make this in Anzio. That's where my first.
You were with the 36th Infantry
36th,
Division?
yeah, 36th Infantry Division.
Let's see, that was in 1944? That would have been...
That'd be 1944.
Yeah, okay. And so you were in Italy until...
Our outfit with a couple other divisions got Rome. We took Rome.
Oh, really?
And after that, we went up to as far as Piombino, Italy. And we were pulled back to Naples. Then we got on our outfit, and a couple more outfits got left to make the invasion of France, to take the pressure off Normandy.
Oh.
So our outfit, so when we made a landing there, everybody was getting worried what was going to, nobody was there.
When was that invasion? Now, was that in southern France?
That'd be southern France.
Okay.
But anyway, when we went out on the beach, it was crazy. We had 300 and some prisoners right off the bat, but they all came to us.
Oh.
That's when German had Russians, they had Poles, they had, but they always had their SS boys there. They either fought or they were killed. So that's what they were so tickled pink to get us to come to take them away. But
so this was, what time was that? Was that in June or July or August?
It had to be in the summertime, because I remember made a bad mistake. I dove off the boat with a few others to have a little swim, but we didn't realize it was so salty, and we couldn't have any water, clean water, because the number of people that were there. So we had to dry up in the sun and just push the salt off, and that was kind of
So when you got into France,
well, we circled around a long time. In fact, we were the British boat. We were on a British boat on that, and the whole line up there, and wherever we landed, but most everybody that landed, they were taken by surprise. The Germans were. So that was quite an experience. But then, as we worked our way up, then we got started getting into the real Germans.
So as you worked your way up, did you go through France or into?
France, we're still in France. It's, we're just going up. And for a while, we was moving pretty fast. And I think it was the 19th outfit of Germany that was coming back. In fact, I can say this, that our artillery wouldn't reach to where we wanted them, because there was bumper to bumper. Finally, I was able to get a hold of some PF-47s, and you can't believe the damage they did.
Oh, the fighter bombers?
Yes, and they stopped that whole outfit, and they had to go back around. My people, I think that's where I come to be a platoon sergeant right there, because there wasn't many guys left. But I was up on a hillside, and I had all the guys lined up. And I should get this in there. And I had them lined up, and one guy took my spot. He had just come back from the United States there, because he had time. And I got mad at him, and I grabbed him by the foot and pulled him out of there. He got shot right in the throat. He was dead, just like that. I said, oh, crying out loud. If I would have been up there, I'd have been at it. But anyway, here we're up there, and the Germans must have cut the wire, because I couldn't, so I went down, and here I was back down the mountainside there, or hillside, or it wasn't really a mountain, but in our battalion aid station there, they were captured, and there was mess all over the place where the fight was going on, and we didn't even realize it, because we had our problems where we were. But it wasn't long though we got them back, the guys back.
What time of year was that now? Is that
Oh, jeez.
still summer? Was it fall by then? Or?
I don't know. I remember that one spot, what I remember most, I shouldn't say this, but I loaned a guy $10. And he was a fellow from New York. And actually he was an attorney. I said, how in the hell did you ever get into the service like that? But anyway, he was shot in the heel by a bullet, you know, that one that lights up. I forget what you call it.
Oh, a tracer?
Tracer, yeah. Well, they were worth my $10. So
he probably got sent home, huh?
Well, I don't know. I never seen him again. He must have went somewhere. But because we didn't even have the 8 guys there yet. But we just did what we could for him. But
Well, you treated your own.
he was happy. He was happy. He says, "I think I'm going to get out of the war on this one."
I'll be darned.
So, whatever.
So you were a sergeant at that time, platoon sergeant?
Yes, when our outfit from up there, and we come down, I think I had about 12 guys out of, or something like that, out of 2 platoons. So,
And that's about how many men?
well, that'd be 80 some guys.
Wow.
So, being a platoon, we have around 40 in the platoon. You got it if it's full. So that's when, geez, I don't even remember. I know I was a corporal, and I know I went to a squad. They had a squad, which gave me a sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
But then to be a platoon sergeant was like that.
Wow.
So, whatever.
Now, Hayden, this is your Eisenhower jacket.
Yeah, I don't know why. How come I still got it? But it's sitting in the basement.
And that's, is that combat dress, or is that for
That's supposed to be
dress?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they called them Eisenhower jackets because that's what he wore.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty heavy.
Made out of wool?
Yep.
Yeah.
If, we had to wear these things, the pants and stuff, in the hot weather. It was terrible. Finally, they learned that the guys couldn't put up with that. You get soaked.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever.
Huh.
But evidently, I must have got this later because it's in a good condition. It wouldn't have been.
So, your unit then went up through France, and you got
Yeah,
into
we
Germany?
went through France until we called Alsace-Lorraine,
Oh, yeah.
was right on the French-German border where their intermarriages was right there. So it was kind of difficult.
Mhm.
But we were there so long, then all of a sudden we just zipped through Germany, different towns. It's the war was ending then, and we were going to help them up farther because that's when the Germans wore their American clothes and making the last
Up
bang,
by
and
the
our
battle
outfit
of-
was going to go there, but then we got into so much trouble ourselves with the SS boys that our outfit didn't go.
Mhm.
But then when that was taken care of where we were, then we went all the way through Germany until I ended up at the end of the war in Austria.
Austria. It sounds like you fought against different kinds of enemies, some real tough and some not so
Right.
tough.
Right. We had also some French that they knew the area we were in, and they helped us, and that helped us a lot to know just.
To know what to do.
You know, because they where to move and all, they knew all the way, and that really helped us a lot.
Tell us about your dog.
Well,
You got a picture of him, or here?
I don't know, somewhere in there.
I'll look it up.
This was strange, but one of my guys, very good-looking fellow, and a good soldier he was, really. I had to go on the court because he wouldn't stick with his buddy. He wouldn't be there any longer, and he was. We had a court-martial, and make the story short, the colonel, who was the head honcho, would you take him back? And I said, yes, if he will be a good soldier. And he said no, he wouldn't come. So I don't know what become of him after that, but I found out later there was only one guy that was ever killed for down there, but he couldn't have been in. But when I got back, we at the Maginot Line, we got back, my outfit was, joined them there, and we had a little problem there, not too bad, because it didn't make any difference then, because that's when the Germans that took France, they just, the parachuters went over there, just over it, so they didn't even do any good. But this is when a German Shepherd dog attached himself to me. I don't know why he did me of all the other guys, but he just stuck with me, and he was the best dog he could ever want.
But that German Shepherd, do you think that belonged to the Germans at some point?
Well, it had to be. It had to be. But anyway, nobody could touch me, I tell you, or he's gone. This dog, though, but when I called him, 2.5-ton truck, he'd jump in there with no problem at all. So he was a pretty good egg. I hated to miss him, leave him, but I had to.
But he didn't like Germans for some reason.
I don't know, but he just stuck to me just like this cat. Why did Pat take this cat? She said he likes you. Yeah, but he's a pain.
Well, I'm going to ask you now. You're standing here under, it says B Company 290. Is that a training unit, or maybe that is?
Maybe.
Or maybe that's somebody else.
Oh, that's some basic training there.
So do you remember what company you were in and what it was called? Or?
And it was Company L during the war. I mean, it was a Company L. So it was I can't even remember, 3rd Battalion, I think it was.
Company L, 3rd Battalion.
I don't man the regiment, I can't remember. But probably the 3rd. Whatever.
And you've got pictures there. One of the pictures in your book is a picture of my father. You and Dad in Paris.
Yeah, I was towards the end of the war, where we were occupying a town, and I had enough points to go home on from so far I've been overseas, and the medals I had, and whatever. And when I left the outfit, I joined a hospital thing to go with. Well, I this one day I went into town and had a couple beers and brats, and I come back to the hospital. They're gone. They had been poisoned. The whole hospital. There was ambulances you couldn't believe. So
poisoned by what? Food or?
They figured it was food. So then I joined an engineering outfit, and I was out in Reims, France, which is outskirts of Paris, and I got stuck there for about 3 months. About the only entertainment was in playing ball or something, and going into Paris, and I know it was all right, but I wasn't that impressed with it. And that's when I decided to take a furlough, and I went over to London. Then I seen your dad over there, and we had a nice visit. Then we come back, and was shortly afterwards, finally, the longshoremen stopped their strike back in the States that went to Marseille, France, and took 30 days to go overseas, and took us 10 days to go back.
Oh, you could go straight, huh?
Yeah.
But that longshoreman strike, that's what kept you from coming home on time.
Yep. So, quite an experience, but...
Well, now you were...
Well, when I come home, we got back to New York, and went to New Jersey, Camp Kilmer, and the first thing I did, stripped down, got a quart of milk and a quart of ice cream, and I went in the shower. I was so tickled pink. It sounds crazy, but I missed milk. I never drank coffee until I was about 50 years old. I don't know why, but but milk I missed. But
well, now you talked about the one time you were on a hill. Is that the same incident that you were showing me the pictures of in your book?
No,
That's a
that was
different
earlier.
incident. That was
Somewhere
earlier.
in there I could have showed you, but I
But you showed me the picture of the...
could have sitting here, I could just part of it, but it's too hard to get to.
It was the little town that you were in, say you were in a schoolhouse?
Well, this was towards the end of the war. I mean, that's when they were making their last push. The Germans there, which they almost, the ones that spoke English and they wore American uniforms, it's hard to tell if they're our guys or their guys. But where I was there, we were having enough trouble with ourselves that we couldn't go to help them.
Yeah.
But that was getting to where it was going to be towards the end of the war.
And it was in a little town, it was
Middleware, I think.
Middleware?
Yeah.
And you showed me pictures, and that was when you were up against SS troops?
You know, the SS troopers, and they're Hitler's elite troops.
And they had...
They're young, but they, from what I gather, if Hitler could get them before they're 8 years old, he could brainwash them enough to do anything that to do. But
And they had a tank?
well, we were in this schoolhouse, and we were having a lot of problems I know at the time, but we were holding our own. And I shouldn't tell you, like I told you when this German tank come up there, but we were firing on enough that after they fired, and I told you what happened, it went back away.
Yeah.
So we were tickled pink in that, because we didn't have, at that time, I had no radios. We had forward artillery people there. They got killed. There was no contact with the rest of my outfit. And that's when we found out there was only about 12 of us, 12 or 13 or 14, somewhere like this left. And one night at dusk, we decided to try to get out of there.
Oh.
And when we did, then we almost got shot at by our own guys because they had set up another. But we found out that we had been surrounded, which we didn't realize.
Wow.
And my mother at that time had got a letter saying that I was missing. And I just like tell everybody, I said, I wasn't missing, everybody else was missing.
Yeah.
But when I got back to my outfit, they were so excited, couldn't believe that we got back. But I only had just out of 40, I only had about a dozen that was left, because it was pretty rough at that time.
Hayden, you said you had some medals. Did you get a medal for that?
I got a silver star. I don't know if that was for there or what, but for what it's worth, it helped me get a few more points to come home, which didn't do any good because the outfit beat me there anyway, so whatever.
Yeah, the men that you served with, you say most of them are...
Yeah, I kept in contact with a lot of them, but over the years, to just, we'd write one another, but now I haven't had contact. Of course, we're not young anymore, so, but I was keeping contact with a lot of them.
Were you ever active in like the VFW or anything like that? Or?
I was for a while. The one on, but not very long, because it's all party time. It seemed like so high.
Now, the kids you went through high school with, almost all of them had to serve?
Yeah, most of them. A lot of them volunteered, went in early. A lot of them were forced to go in, and some were able to pull a few strings and not go. But at that time, all of us, the majority of us, wanted to go. Because I know at that time my brother was turned down because, I forget what it was, but he wouldn't go. And I know he cried when I left and that he couldn't go. So it was, oh, hi, Amy.
Hi.
Hi.
Come on in.
Hi, girls. Well, now, you in your class from Handy Central, was it?
Bay City Central.
Bay City Central?
The January of '43 class. We just had our 60th. It was the 60th
Do you
class.
do you still see some of the guys that you grew
Yeah,
up with?
well, but now there's not too many I see because I think most of them are gone.
Mhm.
'Cause I never thought I'd live this long, to be almost 80.
Beautiful.
So,
How was it back home for your folks, you think?
oh, they were tickled pink.
No, I mean during the war. Do you think it was tough on them?
Yes, the gasoline, sugar, or any of that stuff, they were, but they got by
Did you get a lot of mail when you were over there? Or
quite a bit.
did
I
you
had girls and my guys like George and I, and got together with get them, but
Did you save some of the mail, or did you
no,
mostly lose it? Yeah. Just get rid of it? Or?
Georgie,
I just wondered.
my son Bob,
Yeah.
had a fit. All his baseball cards I pitched out.
That happened to me too.
It happened.
That's,
He had a supply. What are you gonna do? Got so much room.
yeah.
If I had a barn, maybe I could have saved all this stuff. Well, you know how that goes.
Uh-huh.
Because you can't save everything. In fact, we just cleaned up the basement the other day, and you couldn't believe the stuff that we had to pitch.
Did you get the Silver Star when you come back to the United States? And if you did, who
No.
who presented it to you?
A general back over in Germany.
Okay.
It was, yeah, that got a point, and then what's the other one? The other medal I got, that counted for another point or two. And so then the length of time I was overseas, that added up. So what bothered me is I got a lot of packages. My mother was good, and then the other people sent me the goodie bags, you know. And I promised a guy, he said, when it comes, you can keep it, you know, the cookies and all that stuff. Then when I met these guys, when they beat me after I left on points, he said, man, we ate pretty good while you were gone, of all that stuff that was, he would send toothbrushes and toothpaste and whatever, and it was good. It was always good to get something from home.
You were obviously in danger of being captured a couple times there. You were never captured or anything, and never a prisoner of war?
Nope.
No?
No way. But though I will say, well, I shouldn't say it, but I'm going to. Of all the places I've been and all the people I've met, people I liked the best was the Germans. Because the German people overall, the majority didn't want this war, didn't want this fight. But Hitler had enough control where you did it, or they would be dead. So, but I got along better with them than like in Italy or in France wasn't bad, early France, but later France, all they wanted is money or wanted, you know, but when we were coming up the line there, and I remember one there that we had to move on, and I had a box of we got for cigarettes and goodie stuff and that, but there's only so much. And I remember this one couple, and they had 2 daughters, and I was there about a week out on an outpost with my outfit, and she did cooking potatoes. You name it, and she could make anything out of potatoes you want, and we were so tickled to eat. We were so happy. So we gave her all our C rations and K rations, and we got that big box of all this stuff, And I gave them to her when we left because we couldn't carry all this stuff. And she says, then this woman said, this will see us through this war. We got enough bartering to be able to finish the war. Now, that was a couple I would have liked to have went back to see one day. But I can't now, I don't even remember where it would be today.
Wow.
But it was, on occupation duty when we were there in Germany, the majority of the Germans, there was no problem with them at all. They were tickled pink to be relieved of not from Hitler gone. But they were all good people, most of them. When we took over a house, for instance, where I had my guys, the lady, it was quite a nice place. We allowed her to be with us all day long, but at night she had to leave. And I made sure the guys kept that place as though it was their own, and she was very nice. This was 2 different places that we had. This is the one town, I can't remember it now today, but that was, I miss the people.
How about the guys that you served with, Hayden? Were they from mostly one part of the country, or were they from all over?
They're all over.
All kinds of guys.
Oh yeah, it was all different. One was taught me a lot about cards and gambling and how to do it, shoot craps, and I got onto him when I loaned him some money because he had a bad. But then when he come and doubled my money back because he went on a good streak. But he taught me, but shooting craps especially, because I got pretty good at it. And when I went over to see Georgie, we're shooting craps on the boat going over, and I made several $100 on that deal, so I could splurge when I got over there. In fact, when I got over there, I didn't know how the pounds or anything like that, and this girl I met there, and he said, let me handle this because you're getting way too much money. So that was the girl that I liked pretty much, and that my sister later was writing back and forth with them until my sister died. That turned out to be pretty good. It was quite an experience. And it never cost me nothing either. I didn't have to pay to get overseas.
Right. Courtesy of...
That was free. Free food, too.
Yeah. How was the food?
Most time, if the kitchen was anywhere as near, was good, but when you just had the K rations, we got to learn to get by. When the C rations come out, oh boy, would we, I happened to be at the time in a home that had a stove, and I lined up all the cans I pretty much ate myself sick because it was quite a difference. But when I got back home during the war and I brought some of those K rations back, everybody loved them. But they have them so long, it gets kind of.
Now, was there anything that worried you the most when you were there, or any certain kind of thing happening, or any certain kind of weapon that you were afraid of the most, or?
I was young enough that the one time, and it never bothered me. But one time when a German tank was about less than 100 yards away, pointing right at me, or us. We were dug in up on the side of the hill, the wrong side, but this tank fired, and I just closed my eyes, but it went up behind me and killed 3 guys in a hole behind me. And then I had the guys fire. We didn't have nothing to fire against a tank, but we fired all our rifles at them. And there were some ground troops there, and this tank, it was an old tank because it didn't have a turret on it. They had to move the whole thing. It moved in and took off. And I remember at that time we tried to get artillery, called artillery, but it wouldn't get that far. And that's when they were shooting a white phosphorus shell. And I know it landed close to us, and I know it got me here, and it goes right back so quick. It's terrible when you get, yeah. That was worth the Purple Heart, but I didn't bother with that. There was other times I got it, but...
Did you get the Purple Heart, Hayden? Did you?
No.
No?
I never put it in. I never did.
For it.
But Georgie, I'll tell you, I had guys that got hit bad, really bad, and they were tickle pink because they're going to go home. I think his leg was burning wrong. I know that at that same time, a German threw a potato masher, we called it, but it didn't explode.
Wow.
So it's all, you're lucky. I mean, you're lucky, I guess you have to say it. But it was quite an experience, but would I do it over again? No. Hey, people in Iraq, I feel so sorry for them. At least when we had the fighting with Germany, they had their uniforms until they got smart and started wearing ours. But now the guys over in Iraq, how do they tell who's a good guy and who's a bad guy? So even when they had the war in Japan, you know who the Japanese were. But right now, this Iraq bit is terrible. It's terrible.
Were you worried about going and serving in the Pacific after the war in Europe was over?
If I see, at one time, I wanted to be a lieutenant, but I didn't need one. But every time I never had a lieutenant. Had my platoon, and I never had a lieutenant. If I did have him, he never stuck around very long. But you want to know, but I know if I took to be a lieutenant, I'd have been the first guy to go over. But anyway, when I come home, I remember Charlie Pierson wanted me to join the reserves, and I said, I don't want no part of it. Well, I would have been probably one of the first guys, because to be infantry guys, I'd have been gone. But Charlie, he had to go, but he joined a different outfit, not an engineer outfit. He did something there, so it wasn't too bad. But those guys in Korea, the same story. Who's a good guy and who's a bad guy? Because they're all alike. So, and then I did a lot of reading. I just got through the book, and just what they had to go through at that time was just terrible.
Hayden, I know that I've asked you, back when you owned the gas station, if you were going deer hunting, and you had strong feelings about not wanting to do that.
I only went deer hunting once. Hey, I said, this will be a piece of cake. And this is crazy, I know. But we went down this one road, and nobody there, and nothing there, and we started coming back this other way. And we're coming back. I don't know if I ever told you this or not. Coming back, the guys were coming against us from down there, and they started firing. You know what I went and did? I didn't aim at them, but I aimed above them. And you could see the deer in between us. And I know about them, and I let loose there, man, and they start yelling. It just come to me to do that. That was kind of dumb, but, well, maybe it wasn't dumb, because, hey, we're here. So I says, none of us got a deer, and one fellow stayed back at the cabin. He got a deer. And he fired right through the window and got it right at the mulch pile they had. That was the cutest thing, I'll tell you. But
so have you ever wanted to go back to Europe at all, or Africa, or Italy? Or?
I would have liked to go back to that one couple. But I had to remember where it was. Now today I wouldn't know, but that's one of the reasons. But other reasons, no.
This 36th Infantry Division, are they kind of an old unit, or?
Old unit out of Texas.
Texas.
Yeah. But they end up with, they're from all over. It was a Texas outfit, yeah. But they were, it was a good division. I think there was also 3rd Division, the 45th, that all seemed to be together. So it was a good outfit. But whether to do it over again, no. I wouldn't have liked to, no, to go back over. It was an experience. It was quite an experience. But I remember back in Italy, there the Germans poisoned the wells. Then the only thing we could have for moisture was wine, which they had a lot in these cellars. But that's worse than having nothing, because it makes you more thirsty drinking wine. That's all we had in our canteen. Finally, we come up, or the water coming out of the side of the hill, and we had to hold up till everybody got a canteen of water. So that was.
Were you up against German soldiers there, or were you fighting Italians as well? And
Italy, Italy didn't. When we were there, I can't remember any Italy going yet. They're supposed to be, but even Hitler got rid of them because they didn't do their job. But
do you think you were pretty well equipped as a soldier? Do you think the American stuff? You said the uniform was wool, and probably should have.
Yeah. Well, today I don't even know what they have today. It's but I know everything is completely different today.
What kind of, did you carry a rifle?
I carried most everything. I always carried grenades, and sometimes I had a grenade launcher which you could fire. If like somebody is behind the wall there, you can fire up and it'll explode. The best I had the Tommy gun. I had a carbine, but I liked M1. Carried, yeah. That's one I liked the best. Then we had some 03 rifles there for long range. We used to keep one guy there that could fire a long way. One of our best shooters would. We just kept one. Just kept like one guy.
Springfield.
Yeah, Springfield. Yeah, 03.
Mm-hmm.
But the M1 was overall 8, one in the chamber. A 45, there's the whole thing gone. It's just for close-in fighting. Grenades you had to have, because we used to like, guys would get down in the basement. We used to throw a grenade down in the basement, and they didn't come out. We just threw a grenade. But then we found out they always had something in front of them that didn't get them. So. But whatever.
Now, was your training pretty good? Did it prepare you for this?
Yes, very much so. I was one of the fortunate. I was in very excellent shape. Push-ups or anything didn't bother me at all because I could do them practically all day. But the poor guys that were overweight, and when we go on a say 25-mile hike or a 5-mile with a full pack, double time, and the guys would just collapse. They just couldn't make it. They just they either kept it going until they fell. That's on basic training, that is. But one thing that kind of bothered me in a way, when I was in Fort Leonard Wood with basic training, we had German prisoners. And I tell you, all seemed like they're about 6-footers, and they're all good looking, husky, everything you did precision. I said, my God, we got to fight these guys. But then I found out later on, these prisoners that were here wanted to stay here, even here around Bay City.
Oh yeah.
Because they had some up in Linwood there at the place that's shut down now that were helping. They would like to stay, but they couldn't. They made them go back. But I imagine, but a lot of them did finally come back later on to see how everything was going. Well, thank the good Lord, they helped the cops and everything else, the prisoners here, all over. So, but I don't remember reading or hearing of any German prisoners that were here, that they were knocking off people or anything else. But they seemed to, I think they were just like anybody else. You would tickle pink to get out of it.
Now, where were you at when you heard about Pearl Harbor? Do you remember?
Yes, it was after church. We were, the families in the living room, and the radio come on. It was on Sunday, naturally. And we couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. I had some buddies that left, I forget their names now, that left high school early to join outfit, and they got it out in, yeah. And another good buddy got it in Africa, way up north, the Alaska.
Oh, the Aleutians?
His name was Jack Boyce. Athletic, I mean, he tried out for the Tigers and he was doing great. But he went in the outfit, he got killed over in Alaska. I never knew the Germans were in Alaska. I thought maybe they were, I didn't realize till just...
Well, the Japanese, in the Aleutian Islands, Japanese.
Yeah, they got on our islands.
Yeah. My wife's father was in that
Was he?
campaign.
Yeah. Okay,
Well,
we end this now?
Hayden, we certainly can. Thank you very much.
Yeah. My daughter, granddaughter.
Hi. Sorry to interrupt your